Let's get recorded. Hi, everybody. Hi, dignitarians. One of the beautiful evening. We are here to share and know more about exercises. Many things, we are always here to share and care. We see each other, so we care. We hear something new, so we learn something new, so we care, we share. So every day is a learning. So Dignity Foundation is known for growing very gracefully. We are growing up. So with that note, today we have a guest speaker, Kiran Raghunath, and about Kiran Raghunath, we have Vishwanath Rao sir, who will give the introduction. So over to you, Vishwanath uncle.
Good evening, everybody. I am Vishwanath Rao from Sanjay Nagar Chavdi. I am privileged today to introduce Mr. Kiran Raghunath. He is wearing several hats. He is actually an ITA professional. Later on, he diversified into fitness. He holds multiple certifications in physiology as well as physiotherapy. He is a powerhouse of knowledge. He started his career as IT professional, and later on, he specialized in various startups called as Fit Lab, and later on he started a facility called as Reshape, which focuses on rehabilitation and sports performance. He is also now the co-founder of FitRans, which is a company that focuses on online fitness and wellness. He is interested in geriatric wellness too, and he aims to alleviate joint aches and with exercise and instead of surgery. So today it is a critical time. We need a lot of advice on how to keep ourselves fit. So it is the right time to hear Mr. Kiran Raghunath. Over to Mr. Kiran Raghunath. And thank you for accepting and being with us.
Thank you so much. Before I start off whatever I wanted to talk, this is actually my fourth talk in this week. So today is Wednesday. So this is my fourth talk. Out of the four talks I've done, I think 3 has been for the seniors and 1 has been for the college students. And trust me, the college students, the age group was probably around 17 and 19. I could never see the energy which I saw in the seniors. So this is what it makes me actually readily accept whenever I'm supposed to be speaking to the seniors, which is like a huge turnaround of what it was in the past, because those were the energy bombs, and people above 55 could never get together. Now we have platforms where people are getting together and they're actually making a lot of noise, and that makes me really happy. Thank you so much. So thank you so much for giving me a chance to speak here. Now, before I give an introduction about myself, let's all consider that we have come from the history of India. So we know how India is. It is always said that the people above 55 years of age are considered successful if they can retire with financial independence. Now, absolutely true. I definitely don't deny that at all. But probably that is one of the reasons why in India there was always this thing of, okay, I need to have a son in my family. Probably kings wanted that because they could take over their fortune. They could run the dynasty. Whereas several years down, fast forward, I think one of the reasons why we all need sons in this one is they can take care of us. Now, how true is that? We all know that that is not 100% true anymore, not because they don't want to look after us, but at the age of 35, at the age of 55, people are going through the same stress and same lifestyle disorders. There are people who, in fact, it was very disheartening for me to see that recently a dad of 75 years has got his son to a hospital who is 35 years because he's suffering from rheumatoid arthritis. Now, that's the sad part. In fact, it's also very happy to see that his father is very hale and healthy. Now, for me, what if I say that post 55, you are successful if you are having a freedom for movement? If you have the freedom to play with your next generation, that is, freedom to play with your kids, your grandchildren, and give them what you went through in your childhood, freedom to travel around the world. Now, fitness at that age, the most ignored parameter, is actually what completes all the checkboxes of being a successful individual, according to me. Right? Good afternoon and good evening, guys. Thank you so much for having me here. My name is Kiran, and today I'm going to talk about this topic, which probably has never been ever discussed in the field of wellness in India. Okay. And it gives me that immense pleasure to be addressing this huge group of experienced people, because I'm sure that a lot of experience in terms of age, in terms of different domains, business lines, everything. And I know that I'm speaking to a lot of experience here. And I don't know if I have doctors who are listening to me. So definitely, yeah. Wow. Okay, I'm happy. So hope to get some questions from them too. And I don't know if they will actually counter argue with a couple of points with me today. I'm really super happy to take that. So as I said, today's topic is called the geriatric wellness. Now, we have all heard about what is pediatric, because that is something where the doctors really come into really come and put their expertise at the front, because it is needed. But what about geriatric? A lot of statistics which I'm going to give you today. But why is that this topic has never been discussed so far in India? It's mainly because our direct competitors is the existing healthcare system. So we have the hospitals, we have the big doctors, we have the physiotherapy clinics. They're all the big fishes. Definitely a lot of credit goes to these contributors in the field. But yes, as you know, that every successful business line will always have their well-kept secrets. Okay, did we know? So we're talking, when we are saying geriatric, we're actually talking about a power bank of 138 million seniors, which is expected to grow on an average of 3 to 5% every year. So we have around 138 million seniors in India right now. By 2031, we will have around 194 million seniors. So when I say million seniors, it's 50 years plus. Over 20% of the seniors in India suffer with diabetes, 26% on hypertension. 40 million seniors are suffering, 40 million seniors in India currently suffering from arthritis. And did we know that we have over 120,000 knee replacements, which is happening on year from the last 5 years. Over 70,000 hip procedures. So we are not talking about some small surgeries. These are the surgeries which are done on a large scale with a lot of investment which goes into it. There's a lot of progress. I know this is one of the most needed in the healthcare system. But my question is, was all those 120,000 knee replacements absolutely necessary? Do you know that a body goes through a process right from the birth all the way to the finish? Yes, there is a lot of things which it goes through. And God has given us something, a machine, which is actually self-healing. That is why I asked a question, is every procedure which was done and which is going to happen, is everything absolutely necessary? Can some of them be solved by self-healing? Now, what exactly happens among the seniors which is triggering these numbers? Now, let me tell you a story. One day, I got one helpless client. This person was actually sitting in Noida, and he had gone through a very painful middle age. So probably from the age group of, I think from the age of 45 to 55, he had several disc prolapses. So in very simple terms, we call the herniated disc or the slip disc. So he had around 7 discs which was prolapsed, and he went through procedures just to get those discs back in place. But what happened was at the age of 70, he was almost suffering from severe joint issues, both on spinal cord and on the knees. So this friend, son of his, was connected with me for a couple of projects, when I was doing my IT related job. And he explained his problem to me as he didn't want to go through a procedure. But as per the doctor's, surgery was the only solution, because without having a foreign body assisting the movements, it was practically impossible for him to recover. Now, probably I think it was then 2 months before is when I actually completed a rehabilitation course. So it was called the posture correction and rehabilitation. It was a 6-month course, and somehow I developed a serious interest on understanding the human anatomy and physiology. So that is when I did my diploma in physiology and anatomy, and then I had taken up this course, which was about posture correction and rehabilitation. It was never talking about anything for the seniors as such, but it was in general how a human body performs. Now, when this man came and spoke to me about his dad, I was like, hey, I don't know if I can resolve this, but do you think I can give a try? I mean, what if I'm able to solve something so that he can generate himself and not undergo a procedure? And yeah, probably if that can happen, then I'll be the happiest. And I know he'll be the happiest and you will be the happiest. For which, I don't know, somehow he said, okay, fine, let's go for it. I was like super excited. At the same time, I had a lot of butterflies at the stomach, because it's the first ever time. And I'm talking about 2015, where the fitness and the related topics in India was very naive. Not many people had actually advanced much. And this was the time when I actually said, okay, I'm going to take this on. Let me see how I can get this happen. So I started working on him. So I created a very good movement assessment for him, and I started working on this person. Initially, that was the time when the video calls were all just taking a little momentum. And then he said, no, this is not going to happen. Either I'll come to Noida or you come over to Bangalore. So he accepted and he flew down all the way to Bangalore, and we started working on him. First month, absolutely nothing happened. I was like, okay, what did I do? Did I do a right job in taking up this person? And, because he's spending a lot on traveling all the way from Noida to Bangalore and staying here in a hotel. So I said, okay, 1 month. So the second month, something happened, but it was not good enough. It's like, yeah, I'm feeling good, but I still get pain. Then third month, we could see some good changes. Yeah, but what happened in the third month was there were new pains. Oh, I am feeling a pain on this side, I'm feeling a pain on this side. But it was not exactly the joint related pains, but it was more to do with other side and this side pains. I was still anxious. I still had butterflies. Fourth month, there was actually a considerable change. This is when he was like, oh, wow, yes, something can happen. I mean, not everything is about knife and scissors. Maybe there is something within the body itself. Probably at the end of 7th or 8th month, this person was actually moving all by, at the age of 75 right now, 75, 76, he's actually biking. He's biking across South India. He goes to Kerala, 75, 76 years. He's actually been in a couple of newspapers as well, that he travels a lot. This is a team of bikers. He has a Royal Enfield, and he's setting example. And he's actually set an example for his son as well. So what is that which happens in the seniors? There's something called, a term called Sacropenia, which is actually a geriatric condition. Now, inactive people over the age of 50 can lose up to 5 to 7% of muscle mass every year. Now, what does this word muscle trigger in your head? So probably most of us think that muscle is for looks, what actors showcase. Muscle is something to, show that you are strong, which is definitely not required after 50 years. And this is the overall viewpoint when we say a muscle. But what happens? What exactly does a muscle do in the body? It's a connective tissue which actually makes levers move. It actually makes the body to move. It actually makes the heart function. It actually makes the digestive system perform. It makes the entire human body to operate as per what it is happening right now. For everything, this is what is needed. Now, this is a very common condition because metabolism reduces as the age grows. Now, due to this, more energy is needed to conduct the day-to-day activities. So deep inside, the organs are kind of not as 100% as how it was in the 20s and the teenagers. But yes, there is a small reduction, which means that a lot of energy is required to maintain these systems. Now, when given a priority to the body, first priority goes to these operations, and last priority comes to those muscles which makes the body to move. So the body has an automatic tendency to take all these energy from the muscles and put them into these systems. So that's why the metabolism starts moving downwards and the muscle mass starts reducing. But what are the cons of having reduced muscle mass at that age? Is we directly expose the ligaments, the tendons, the cartilages, everything directly to movements. Muscle is something which holds them together. Once the muscle mass reduces, we have the entire inner portion of the mechanism which gets exposed. Now, what happens with this is there's a direct wear and tear between the joints. Now, the ligaments and tendons are doing the activity a muscle is supposed to do. When the muscles are not there, they take up the responsibility. They cannot take as much as movements as the muscles can do because muscles are more flexible. They're like rubber bands. Whereas tendons and ligaments can't, they are more rigid. In the end, you undergo a process called the dreaded name, which we all know, which is called the osteoporosis. Worst case is people around the age of 40 is actually suffering with this disease right now. It's no more an old age disease ever. I'm actually currently dealing with one person who is 40 years of age, who is actually suffering from rheumatoid arthritis. And rheumatoid arthritis is basically a terminology which is self-generated inside the body. It's the body's defense mechanism which works against the body itself, and you actually create these issues inside. Yes, there are medications for this. At the same time, medications don't say that I'm going to rectify you completely through medicines, but they actually say that you have to do exercise if you want to prolong or take this as long as possible. Because they don't say that, okay, the pain only comes in the elbow, the pain only comes in the knee, because RA can happen at any part of the body. If your body is once diagnosed by RA, it can trigger pain in the knees, in the hips, in the elbows, in the neck, in the spine. It can happen anywhere. So you can't go around having replacements in all parts of the body. So what is it which we do is, yes, medication is always there, but we have the orthopedics who say that, okay, please go and move. This is the only way to reduce your pain. It's been almost 6-7 months now. This person is associated with me, and I should say that he has improved by around 80% of what he was probably in the month of February. Okay, so so how do we turn this around? So is there a way we can handle the situation by body working by itself to heal it? Answer is, of course, yes. As I said, muscle is a regenerative tissue in the human body. As I said, muscle is not just for the looks, they are the prime movers. Now, what I thought with this client of mine, what did this teach me is, if I can actually make him move with all the fundamental movements your body can do. For example, squat down fully, doing a potty squat, bending your hip, moving side to side, walking with better pace. So if these fundamental movements can be achieved for this person, and he's also eating some right things, then definitely there's going to be some improvement. So what we did with him was we actually put him on a very strict custom-made workout. I had a team of 3, including me, and we actually started monitoring him day to day. And then we had a lot of calls which was happening every day, and we had actually created a good diet chart for him to see if that can, yes, of course, it did make a lot of difference. With everything put together, one day we thought, okay, so this is like a launch day. This is like, this month is going to be the day where I'm going to see some kind of changes in him. I'm going to take him out, take him completely out, probably like an open park somewhere near the mountains where I can do some small trekking. We all went in the car, the entire my team, and along with him and his son, we all drove. And yeah, so opened the door for him. He was like, he was feeling good. He said that, okay, I'm feeling good. I want to see how I perform. All right. So there he said, he walked out of the car, and then he was like, oh wow, fresh air. It's been like ages since I actually stepped out and saw the sun and wind and actually wanted to walk, because he could never even step out of his bed. Oh yes, then he's like, okay, come with me, help me out. I will walk around. If I feel somewhere something, then please help me and get me seated. So we went around the park for probably one round, which was around probably 750, 800 meters. And second round, he got a little bit of confidence. He said, okay, let me do this myself, but you be behind me so that I can, if I need anything, you can come and help me. All right. So I was there. My team was there. They were watching, and we did another walk. Third round onwards, he was like, hey, you do one thing, you stay there. I'm going to go by myself. Like, are you sure? Are you sure that you want to do this? Because I'm okay to be with you. Said, no, I'm going to do this by myself. If I'm going to suffer, I know I have you. I'll come to you back again. He started walking by himself. He did a good 1.5 kilometers of walk. We were there quite behind him, just watching him, how he's doing it. Trust me, that was one time I actually got tears in my eyes. It felt so good to see the happiness in his face, because he had actually got over this particular problem without going through a procedure, when the whole healthcare system had said that it's only way for you to move back. And now he's got his entire body to heal back, and he's actually started walking and jogging by himself. So to all my friends out here, please understand that the healthcare system is a combination of prevention and cure. There are some people who are working on preventing it. At the same time, there are some who are actually working on curing it. Right? So doctors are doing a phenomenal job in understanding the problems and actually medicating it, or even performing surgeries. But to be very honest with you, not every problem needs a surgery. You don't have to go through knife and scissors for every problem you come across. Osteoporosis, arthritis, these are some of the degenerations which happen as a part of your biological clock. Right? Think of the biological clock which you go through. Once you know that you're age of 50, don't just end up doing the ECGs and EEGs to understand if your heart is working fine. Right? See if you can actually get your movements assessed. There are those movement professionals who can understand if you're moving right, if you're loading the right joints at the right place, if you're loading the right muscles at the right place. Are you using them to the maximum efficiency? They might actually understand if you need assistance in some places. Also think of getting a strict disciplined fitness regime, a diet, a lifestyle. This is why friends can actually reduce a lot of issues for you in the future. And they walking along, because this is what I see around my locality. There are a lot of friends who get together early morning, 70 to 75 years of age. They go to this place called Lalbagh, which is very close to my place. And I see them almost been seeing them for decades. Yeah, they have a healthy lifestyle and they're taking it forward. So which means if you are moving, you actually reduce a lot of issues in your body. We as movement professionals, we might not have funky looking clinics and machines, but we do have the knowledge to understand how every joint and every tissue could behave and what rectifications to be done. All right. So what exactly I want to say here right now is, as I said, the moment you come across a problem, first, I'm talking about the cure part. Once you come across a problem, Do not be hell-bent that, okay, I'm going to a doctor and I'm getting this result, an orthopedic, and making sure that I'm going to go under medication for the next couple of years. Yes, medications for arthritis, osteoporosis can go for years. They don't stop in 1 month, 2 months, and 3 months. Now, make sure, along with that, parallelly, go to a movement professional who is really certified and get your movements analyzed. Get an assessment done. You can get your assessment done at any age. There is no age bar to it ever. So just go and get a movement analysis done and see if it can be fixed by movements. Currently, I'm working with this one person who is 54 years of age, and she is undergoing severe osteoporosis, which means that she has actually damaged not only her joints, but she has actually ruined her cartilage in the knee. And currently, with the body weight, she's actually kind of arching her leg outwards, and that is creating a lot of problems for her. And yes, for her as well, it was all said that she has to undergo a procedure. Then I said, okay, let me take care of this for the next 6-7 months. If nothing happens, please go ahead and do whatever you want. Now she's able to do all the fundamental movements. I wouldn't say that her arching has come down. It is definitely still there, but she's able to do all the movements which she could do 10 years back. She has rectified her diet. She has rectified her lifestyle. And she's also going through a strict fitness regime. Even with my absence, she's making sure that she's following it on a daily basis. And you know what? She actually sends her video of she performing, and she shares it with me on a day-to-day basis. Now, this is creating an accountability for her, and this has created a lot of improvement. Now, which she could never do the movements, she's actually doing it. She's actually using the Indian style potty, which was like probably around 25 years back she was using it when it was around 90s or 95s. Now she's actually gone back to that. And she says that I could never imagine me sitting there. And I'm super happy because this was one of my dreams. One. Second, she could never cook. Now she has started cooking for her son, her daughter-in-law, and she's very happy. She's able to take care, sit down on the floor, cross-legged, and actually teach her grandson the school portions or the curriculum. And she's very happy to do this because yes, the body has the power to regenerate. So what are the most important do's and don'ts when it comes to creating yourself, creating a lifestyle for yourself? Build a strong fitness regime with the help of a fitness professional or a movement professional. I wouldn't say a fitness professional because there are a lot of people there. These are some of those movement professionals who knows how the body performs. So they are the people who understands how a sport people perform, how a senior citizen performs, how a kid performs. So they know the movements. It's not just about weight loss, weight gain. There's a lot of science behind it. Just like how doctors, healthcare system has expanded their knowledge, their domain. In the same way, our field has also improved over years. And then build a lifestyle which can set an example to your next generation. Now, if you just end up going through a surgery just because your neighbor went through a surgery for knee pain, yes, your next generation can follow your footsteps. We have a lot of equipments which can handle your issues seamlessly. It can actually get you away from the problems. Build an eating habit which is high in nutrition. India is a place where getting nutritious food can be very expensive. Yes, we are actually paying a price for it, but that is one of the most important parts which we have to do, because the more people start eating healthy, I guess that is where the inflation level starts dropping down. Maybe yes, the demand is more, the supply becomes more, and the prices might start reducing, but it's very important to have a nutritionally balanced meal at any age. You can't say that, okay, I have done enough of eating healthy in my past. Now it's my time to enjoy. After 55, I'm just going to eat everything. No, that is the point where you have to eat more healthier, because the body does not absorb all the micronutrients. And this is where you need to be a little more aware and careful in what you're consuming. Okay. And then when the problem arises, first visit a movement specialist and get your movement analysis done. Point number 4. Point number 5 is do not do a panic medication by yourself. If there's a pain in the knee joint, which is probably taking more than 14 days, which is the acute stage, probably you might have to think that, okay, a painkiller is not a solution for this. You might want to undergo something else to see if there is an issue. Because I actually had a client who was on painkillers for more than 3 months just because he thought it was some muscle related spasm in the back of his knee. No, he had actually undergone an ACL tear. And painkillers, I don't know if it was doing the work for him or not. He sustained that for almost 9 to 10 months. And then he went to the doctor. He said he has to undergo a surgery. I don't know what kind of surgery can actually rectify an ACL tear, but ACL tears can easily be rectified when they actually come to a movement professional. Because for us in my rehabilitation center, I have more than 15 badminton players who are undergoing a rehabilitation for ACL and PCL. I'm going to tell you what's a movement specialist. Yes, definitely I'll tell you what's a movement specialist. Now, medication is not, your self-medication is not one of the ways to be what you should be looking at as a solution. Most of the issues which might come up might just be the starting part of the problem, which can resolve by itself. So if you just see, as I said, with this person who had a small pain at the back of his knee, this could just be the starting of a problem. Now, if you actually open your eyes, you'll actually see that, okay, oh yeah, there is this problem and this is how it can be resolved. If you just leave that for probably 15 to 20 months, it can pile up. It can pile up becoming something else. It's very easy to unload and overload different parts of the body. I'm going to just give you a very small example. One of my clients had a small corn in his left feet. The left feet had a small corn. So corn, also called the wart, is a small viral infection which can happen at the bottom portion of the leg, which is very, very painful. The moment he stepped, he used to feel that pain, which he started restricting the pressure given on the left feet, and he started putting more pressure on the right. Okay, this person was around 53 years of age. And over time, he was just like small limp, which was happening on one leg. And he was loading a lot of weight on the other leg. He had ignored this wart almost for more than 1.5 years. And all of a sudden, he could actually see that there was a bone degeneration or the joint degeneration on his right knee. Now, that was triggering severe pain in his lower back. Because he continuously started kind of arching and leaning forward, which was creating a severe impact on his upper and the mid-thoracic spine, which was navigating all the way till his neck. Now that used to trigger a lot of pain at the back of his head. So just one wart at one part of the feet had triggered a series of pains through the body like a series light, and it was actually showing at the back of his head. So this is what happens. So when you know that there's a problem, try and get it resolved as early as possible instead of ignoring it or self-medicating it, right? Even if you undergo a surgery, you understand that you still need to exercise, you still need to rehabilitate, because they're not going to say that, okay, the moment I put something there, tomorrow you can stand up and walk around. It's impossible. That's not actually how it works. So for the foreign body to move, get adjusted to your movements, to your weight, the way your body performs, because they do those parts based on how generally your body works. But each body is different. The load which comes on that particular part might be different for you than it is for another person. So movement is very important. Exercise is very important. So you have to spend a good 1 year to rehabilitate post-surgery. You could as well do that even as soon as the problem starts. Okay, surgery should always be the last option. That is, if there's no other option, yes, maybe there are. I have myself suggested that no, I'm not able to do anything on this. Fine, go and find a surgeon, get it done, come back to me after that, I'm going to help you move. So this is a basic structure when it comes to geriatric rehabilitation. It's a very well advanced part of wellness and fitness. I would want you guys to actually think of exploring this, and also create a good, a fitness regime, a diet regime, and everything for yourself. This can also help you in other lifestyle related disorders like diabetes. As I said, a lot of people going through lifestyle disorders at this time. It is not restricted to people above 50, 55 anymore. We have people at the age of 30, 32 who is coming up with these issues. You already know how many people have undergone heart attack issues at a very young age. Diabetes is not something which happens because you eat sweets. It's a stress related disorder. It is an emotional disorder. It's an anxiety driven disorder. It's a work driven disorder. It's a life driven disorder. So it can happen due to any of these, right? Obesity can lead to diabetes. Office stress can lead to diabetes. Severe alcohol consumption, smoking can lead to diabetes. Can we rectify these? Because medication on diabetes means you're cutting down on the insulin which can supply by itself, and you're actually depending on something external. Once you tell your body that this hormone is not required to produce from inside because it is being produced from something outside, it stops producing. So if the body can self-heal, produce insulin from inside, very well, that is the best way to rectify that issue. The same thing holds good for thyroid. The thyroid stimulating hormone is actually produced inside. Now, if we have to depend on a medication from external sources, yes, the internal hormone secretion stops. Hypertension, in other words, it's also called the blood pressure. So BP is another thing which we have seen in every age. A good diet and fitness regime can actually resolve this. You don't have to wait till it gets so bad that you actually have to depend on a medication or a doctor to rectify your hypertension. No. Even if you're in quite advanced stage, you can actually cut it back by doing these two most important things. One is a fitness regime. Second is a disciplined lifestyle and eating. Ayurveda purely says that every problem arises out of stomach. So if you go to an Ayurvedic specialist, he would normally not give something related to the joint. He first rectifies your tummy and then he addresses the problem. Right? So all in all these lifestyle disorders is not something which is only for the higher age group. Definitely not. Seniors is one of the most targeted age group in India because, as I said in the statistics, it's a huge market. It can generate a lot of income for people. Yes, they're doing fantastic job. At the same time, there will be certain businesses which will come into picture. But if you can get your body healed by your own power, then there is nothing like it, because it can move you for a longer time. My dad is one of the biggest examples. He had a severe nerve jamming which was happening at his lower back, and his entire lower body was numb. 4 specialists, 4 neuro specialists, everyone suggested that it's only surgery for you. When we started making my dad move, he actually came across, got away from the problem all by himself. Yes, the numbness is still there, but he is almost reduced at 80 to 85%. And he knows that now, okay, I don't have to go through a surgery anymore. Because at the age of 78, 79, I would definitely not suggest a surgery for him, because now he's very happy. So, okay, I'm happy that at least I'm able to move. 10 years younger than him, he went through a surgery and he's still struggling. It's not easy. It's not easy to just come out of a surgery like that. It's 50-50. There are some people who will suffer. There are some people who will come out of it very easily. Doctors never say that, okay, 100% you'll be fantastic after this. But if a movement can do that, Great, fantastic. Again, I wouldn't say that it's 100% here too, but definitely this is a better option to look at rather than directly jumping to option number last. All right, so with this, yes, I think I've covered most of the things which I wanted to talk. I think I got a couple of questions which I would like to take you right now. So Shiva and Shashi, they have asked me, what is a movement specialist? So movement specialist is someone who analyzes the movement. So basically, these are the people who fall under the rehabilitation part of the wellness domain, and they understand the movements of a person. They see what is performing on the right. The body can be divided into three parts. One is right and left, front and back, up and down. Now, when you divide the body in these different planes, your body should perform equally on either of the planes. Up and down should work equally, right and left should work equally, and front and back should work equally. Now, these are the specialists who will know how each of this is performing, and if there is any small changes, they know what has to be done to rectify. So these are the people who are called the movement specialists. Yeah, so they can understand what the problems are. If you have any questions, people just, I would be very happy to take it. Please let me know what it is.
Yes, Kiranji. Kiranji, I will allow them to unmute so that they'll ask question.
Yes, yes.
I request everyone to do one after the other, slowly unmute
Yeah.
himself
Can
and
I
ask
ask?
you.
Can I
Movement
ask?
One
specialist
after
in
the other.
Pune. In
Can I
Pune.
ask?
Who should
Are they in Pune?
Sir, I'm Rajapan here.
Yes,
Can
yes.
I ask you a question, please?
Yeah.
Definitely,
I have a
definitely.
question. Oh,
Doctor, you have told going for an operation, you'll be the last. And you can cure yourself. The body can take care of itself. That's what you are telling. Only thing is you have to support. Don't go against it. The language, body language is there. That language you have to understand and act accordingly. I agree. Now, why don't you give one or two examples? For example, for neck pain, what is to be done, how you have to perform, and how to find out the exercise for it, if you don't mind.
Okay. So you're asking me a question which is more specific. So there is nothing very generic about how a movement has to be performed. So let me say this: the body is as strong as its spine. So if the spine is strong, the entire body structure remains fit. Okay. Now the body is supposed to have four curvatures in the spinal column. So the upper curvature is called the cervical curvature. Then you have the thoracic curvature. Then you have the lumbar curvature, and then you have the sacrum curvature. So there are four curvatures which has to be. That is called the neutral spine. Now, what happens when either of the curvature is gone? It is called a spinal disorder. Now, this spinal disorders can create a lot of issues throughout the body. Now, if there is an issue with the neck, then the entire issue can actually navigate all the way till your feet at the back or at the front. Now, understanding that there is a small curvature, for example, if you're sitting straight and you have a normal curvature at the back, which is very common for people in Bangalore who actually work in the corporates, they have actually reduced one of those curvatures, which is the thoracic curvature, which is supposed to be like this. There is a bigger curvature. So there is one curvature to next curvature. It is all one single. Now, this is creating a problem for a lot of people, which gives them upper back pain, lower back pain, or the migraine headaches. So these are some of the analysis which has to be done. Now, how do we rectify this? Is by making sure the spinal movements are done on a day-to-day basis. It could be probably creating a small round in a big towel, putting at the back and doing the neck movements, or it could be going on all fours and doing a cat and camel posture, or it could be neutralizing your spine. For example, while doing our Surya Namaskar, we have the movement where you put your palm and the feet on the floor. So that is one of the neutral spine postures which helps you to neutralize the entire spine. Now, these are some of the movements which neutralizes the spine and gives them its proper shape. If this can be done on a regular basis by everyone, you actually do not come across problems. But if you have actually come across a problem, then we will have to analyze their movements to see what happens and actually get them to move properly accordingly to each person. And then we have to rectify the issues. Otherwise, doing these movements can actually resolve a lot of issues.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Can I ask a question, please?
Dr.
Yes.
Kiran, can I ask
My
one
name is
question?
Nagraj.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes. Yes.
My name is Nagraj.
Nagraj sir. Yes. Please tell.
Sir, where is this clinic in Bangalore? North.
Okay. So.
And no, next question is, I mean, how expensive it is, and what are the exercises to be done? And in my case, I have been doing regularly exercises for nearly some half an hour to 40 minutes. Okay. And then, but I don't have knee pain basically, but my walking style has changed, and I want to understand why it has happened. And also, like some sort of a limping, some sort of a limping on both sides. That is, and then slightly it was bowed, both this thing. But now it is slightly reducing. But what are the reasons for that one? I would like to know. And please give your phone number before closing.
Definitely.
And answer my questions. Answer my questions.
Okay, so basically we do not have a clinic as of now in the north of Bangalore. We have currently 2 clinics, one in JP Nagar and one in Kanakpura Road. So in either of these places, it is all about mostly to do with the rehabilitation. Now, when I say how expensive it is, we are not definitely not as expensive as a healthcare unit, because we only facilitate movements. We try and facilitate what your body can do and actually take you through a regime, which is considerably a little more time consuming, but at the same time very rewarding. With your issue, I actually understand that. Okay, so let me explain that there is a knee joint which is seen like this. Now there is something called a cartilage in between those. Now the cartilage can undergo a lot of imbalances, which actually protects the joints. Now if the cartilage, either the external part or the internal part goes through wear and tear, there can be a bowing which happens in the leg. That exactly would be one of the reasons why you would have undergone a small bowing. But the best part is cartilage is still a connective tissue which can undergo rehabilitation by itself. It can actually regenerate by itself, certain parts of the cartilage. Now, if we can actually help it regenerate, it means that your problem can be resolved. As I said, one of the clients which I'm working with right now, she also has the same bowed leg issue. The bowing is not come down, but we can actually see that the cartilage is getting better. And which means that probably a year from now, she will actually reduce her bowing as well. So it is definitely a solvable problem, and it can actually rectify by itself. Definitely. And looking at your walking, this one, I will definitely be able to analyze what issue you would have gone through and why it is happening. That is something which we will have to probably have have an assessment done. Now, in case it is very tough for any of you to travel all the way, and if you're in different parts of the country, there's always a way to do that online. Yeah, so we definitely use that. We have used that in the past, because currently I'm working with people who is in Oman and Abu Dhabi, who are like geographically in different parts of the world, and they're still going through rehabilitation. Yes, through online it is possible.
Do you have any YouTube channels?
Can I?
Do you have any YouTube channels for this?
YouTube channels are there. I can share the YouTube links with you.
Hello, Mr.
Can I ask
Kiran.
a question, please?
I'm asking one question from you.
Yes.
I'm from Delhi, Chai Masti Center, Delhi. Are you able to listen to me?
Yes, I didn't get your name, ma'am. What's your name?
My name is Nirmala, sir. Nirmala.
Nirmala. Yes.
Nirmala, yeah.
Yes,
See, for 10 years, I'm suffering from knee problem.
okay.
And everybody says that you have to go for the surgery. And honestly, mentally, I'm not prepared for knee surgery. But I'm so happy, so much impressed by your lecture, because this is my confidence and my faith that without surgery I can manage. And recently I used to go for my physiotherapy, but recently I have got a person like you, as you are talking, and a young boy, he says, ki, I am guarantee I will make you, solve your problem. And I've been almost a month, I'm having these muscles strengthening exercise. And he is doing with devotion, my faith. And I tell you, Mr. Kiran, it is really working so wonderfully. I'm so happy. And today, after listening to your lectures, my faith has again improved, and I'm so happy. Thank you so much, Kiran, for especially for the senior citizen. It is really a very rewarding. Thank you so much, Kiran. I wish you all
Thank
the
you so
best.
much. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thanks
ma'am.
for that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sir, what are the exercises to be done?
We can actually do an assessment on you, sir. So we can understand, Nagraj sir. So we can actually do an assessment to understand what is happening. Yes, basic exercises definitely will work, but to see something more in specific, what can actually work, one movement analysis and assessment is very important. So probably I can probably put it across to you how you can actually get an assessment done. That is one of the best things to be done. Please get it done. And if there is anything specific you will have to do for your body, you will actually get to know through that. Otherwise, the YouTube link has all the movements which you can actually watch and go through that. It will definitely help you.
Excuse
I
me.
have one question.
Ask your
How much
question.
walking do you advise for senior citizens?
Come again, sir. I missed that question.
How much of walking do you advise in a day for senior citizens?
So walking is purely based on how you have trained your body. There is no specific number, because there are people above 82 to 85 years who still walk close to 7 to 8 kilometers, up to 10 kilometers as well. And there are a lot of people who have just started after 50, 55 years who can just do probably like 3 to 4 kilometers a day, even if they're like 60, 61 years of age. It all depends on how you have trained. So, but what I would suggest is do not go to a phase of total discomfort on the joints, because you know where your body starts giving up and you start creating some kind of troubles and aches in different parts of the body, especially your lower back. So if you start feeling that, okay, I've walked enough and I'm feeling something in my lower back, that is a point which you will have to stop, because excessive loading of the joints can actually not dangerous, but it can create a lot of discomfort, and it also affects your sleep pattern. And that I would suggest that you shouldn't be doing it. Very good way to do is something called progressive overload. So when I say progressive overload, imagine that currently you're walking 5 kilometers. Now your body adapts. At any age, your body adapts for that 5 kilometers of walk. In a couple of months from now, you will understand that 5 kilometers gets easier. So you can slightly push it up to 5.5 kilometers. 5.5 becomes 6. 6 becomes 6.5. So you see that the small increases can actually create a lot of advantages for you. Your body becomes the movement becomes easier, and the joints become fluidic, and they actually move more easily. So this progressive overload is very important. At the same time, tiring the joints is something which I don't suggest. So stop at a point where you feel you're tiring your joints.
What is the minimum walking that you suggest?
Minimum is, the international standards say that you have to elevate your heart rate a minimum of 20 to 25 minutes every day. So at the 20-25 minutes, if you can keep your heart rate elevated above 65 to 70%, it's good enough to have your cardiovascular system in good condition. At the same time, you can keep all the moving joints and the muscles and the fluids, the synovial fluids, moving perfectly. So I would suggest that anything about 20 to 25 minutes is a good way to have. You can cover 3 kilometers in that, and gradually you can increase that and go up to 5 or 6 kilometers as well.
But more walking, doesn't it damage the cartilages?
As I said, you should not hit the tiring phase. If you're constantly on a day-to-day basis tiring your joints, that you're feeling, oh, I'm feeling exhausted after the walk, that's a point you should kind of start looking towards it and making sure that you're reducing. Even after you finish your walk, you should feel that you're re-energized. should feel that you're refreshed. So that is where you need to keep an eye on your own self. You're not tiring your joints. So it's not just about weight loss or keeping myself active at any age, but it's about not tiring any part of the body and keeping it energized always.
Thank you, Subramania sir. Raghu sir, you can unmute and ask.
Yes,
Raghu
last
sir.
question. How far yogic kriyaएं? How far the yogic kriyaएं will help in the joint pain? Yogic kriyaएं.
It is amazing. I would say that is one of the best things you should be doing it. And I would suggest this for everybody, because that is one thing which has come from the historic age of India. And there is a lot of movements, because even today in my clinic, in my rehabilitation center, if I have to give movements for people, I would be following movements like the frog pose, the pigeon pose. And there is the same Sanskrit words for that. There is Kapotasana and Mandukasana.
I'm doing that. I'm doing that.
Yeah. So please go ahead. Continue doing that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Raghu sir, you can ask your question.
Kiran?
Please restrict yourself to 1 or 2 questions so that
Yeah.
others get a chance.
Okay, okay. Mr.
Yes,
Kiran,
Raghu.
very nice of your putting, because you have touched a right point for our age, because
Thank
geriatric, all problems what we are facing is mainly of the pains here and there and all those. See, what I thought that rheumatic arthritis is something like a disease or deficiency, whereas osteoarthritis is the overuse of our bones and other things. Rheumatic probably we cannot avoid much, so it may happen, but osteo we can definitely avoid over the regularly practicing and all. Now we are confused now. The neurologists, orthopedics, and all specialists are gone. Now we are having yoga specialists, rehabilitation centers, and like whatnot. These are all. This your rehabilitation center is based on the physiotherapists or doctors or yoga specialists, or who are the people who are managing that rehabilitation center?
Okay, so consider that there is a top of a tree which is called health and wellness.
Yeah.
Under health and wellness, you have the doctors, you have the physiotherapists, and you have the rehabilitation specialists. So doctors are curing, and the physiotherapists are doing a combination. So the moment the pain comes, they try and cure and prevent. And these are the people who actually came into the science because they wanted to prevent problems. But this field has also advanced so much, where we not only prevent, but we also cure. So it's a part of not only about not just like the doctor and the physiotherapist, they are also into wellness, fitness, and movement patterning. So basically what we do here, we don't work like physiotherapists who just look at the joints. We actually look at the complete body as one single unit. And we see that, okay, the body is supposed to be performing these n number of activities without any hitches and glitches. And here we actually try and get these movements put together. As a physiotherapist, you normally use the electric system and you use the equipments to rectify movements. Here we use the body itself to make movements. Just like, see how yoga specialists are there. There are a lot of specialists in every field. It's just that this is one field which is looking at the medical part of the body, not just the fitness, but the medical part of the body. So this is where we sit. On the top of the hierarchy, we have 3 units, and we are sitting in the 3rd unit.
And one point we will definitely agree. Surgery should be the last or never be, because that is one area where people, many of the doctors, they first say that any small problem, spinal, this, they say minor surgery. That once you get to the surgery, probably we will be forever in your rehabilitation center only. We cannot recover.
Okay, thank you. Shiva sir, you can unmute and ask your question. 1 minute.
Thank you. Okay. Next, please put me on.
Thank you. Later, once Shiva sir speaks, I will put you on. Shiva sir, you can speak.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Sir, we can't hear you.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thanks, Kiran, for this session.
Thank you.
My question was, of course, on the movements. Okay, and you said that what sort of specialist of people are there? I mean, they are either qualified, or how do they analyze the? Is it only by your postures, or is it by taking some X-rays or scanning? Or I want to understand what exactly is the process involved in the the identifying the problems or the solutions. How it is arrived at?
Okay, allow the question. All right, so this is basically a field which is a combination of several things which you asked right now. So as I said, these are the people who are almost like, we have a group of physiotherapists who are there in the complete unit to analyze the problems. And then we have the movement specialists who actually analyze the movements. So these are the two people who are sitting at the top. Now, what we do here is the physiotherapists actually analyze, okay, we need these documents for us to understand this person's issue. So it could be an MRI, it could be an X-ray. All these are the first set of things which we would need if it is really necessary. Now, once this comes, the physiotherapists are going to sit and analyze, okay, these are the things which has happened in this body, and this is how the body is performing at this point. And then hand it over to the movement specialist, who is going to sit and watch the person. The use cases are taken there to see how the person is performing. Now, based on the inputs given by the physiotherapist, these movements are performed and to see what has happened. So here the physiotherapist doesn't understand what the movement analyst is doing, because he's just given the problem analysis. Now, how the movement is doing, how the body is moving, and what is supposed to be done to rectify it is actually done by the movement specialist. Now, there is a certain amount of regeneration which can happen by the body itself. We can't definitely say that, okay, see, this is one of the use cases where we cannot do anything. So that kind of option never arises, because we say that, okay, to some extent, there will be certain regeneration. For example, take the example of meniscus damage in the knee. So meniscus, there are two parts in the meniscus, one the inner part and the outer part. The outer part can regenerate. The inner part never generates because it is a white tissue. Now, what happens here is the physiotherapist is going to give us the analysis. The movement specialist is going to come and actually see you move. He sees the knee moving. He actually touches and understands what is happening. Now he says that, okay, this is where the damage has happened. We will try and regenerate the outer meniscus, which can actually take care of the joint movement. If nothing is possible, then surgery is the last option. Then it is totally up to you if you want to go for a surgery, but we will try our level best to create certain outer meniscus to be recreated. We perform this operation on you, or perform this movement on you for next 3 to 4 months. Once that is done, you have improved. If you are not showing any signs of improvement, if your improvement is less than 10%, then that's an indication that, okay, maybe exercise is not for you. It is kind of damaged. Maybe you will have to go through a surgery for this, and then you can come back to us so that we can help you, rehabilitate you, so that you can move better with a foreign object. So this is the overall procedure.
The movement specialists are qualified? Are there courses like that, or what exactly is that?
So
whom do I call a movement specialist?
Okay, so you call movement specialists who are who have diploma in physiology and anatomy, and they would have done specific courses on how to understand the posture correction. Unfortunately, at this point, across the world, there is no one specific curriculum which can do everything together.
Yes, that's what I was wondering.
So we will have to pick, and that's why we have very, very minimal set of people in the entire world.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so there we have to do a lot of things. So there is one college which gives us a diploma on physiology and anatomy, which is the most important. And then we have a certain set of.
But that is very basic, no? The physiology.
Yeah, that is very basic. And apart from that, we'll have to understand how a posture is corrected and how is it performed. That's another course. Then rehabilitation is another course. So all in all, we would have spent more time than going to a college. So it would be more than 3.5 years of heavy, studies to be done, because it's a combination of many things put together.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Those also can post your questions in the chat box so that
Cardiac rehabilitation. I have asked.
Okay, Radha ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, Radha ma'am, what is cardiac rehabilitation? Do you have online help for this? Okay, cardiovascular system is basically a system which takes care of the major crux of the body. So that is your entire heart, your lungs, your blood, oxygen, arteries, veins, everything put together. So this is where the major operations is happening. So if you ask me what exactly this cardiac system is doing, it is actually taking in something from outside, creating the nutrition which is required for the body to perform, and it is giving to every part of the body. So if you ask me, that is one of the most important part of the complete human body operations. So when I say cardiac rehabilitation, it can be at any of these parts. It is not just with the heart. It can be with the heart, it can be with the lungs, it can be with the arteries, it can be with the veins, it can be with how purified, of what's the quality of the blood, and what is the volume of oxygen inside. So it's called the VO2 max. So if you just have a very strong heart which is well loaded with muscles, that is not enough. Are your lungs capable of expanding well enough to consume good amount of oxygen? Now at the same time, if your lungs are able to take in a lot of oxygen, it is not enough. Is it strong enough? If the body's system is strong enough to take all the oxygen which is consumed inside and use it into the bloodstream? Are the arteries and veins in good conditions to pump the blood to and fro? Are there any blockages?
Yeah, I had an angioplasty done 3 years back.
Okay.
So doctor said, are you doing cardiac rehabilitation? I asked few of the centers, physiotherapy here in Pune, but they didn't have anything specific.
Okay.
So that's why I'm asking.
So basically, when we say cardiac rehabilitation, ma'am, it means that the heart is supposed to be performing at certain efficiency in the optimum heart rate region. So when I say optimum heart rate, at the heart rate, so basically when we say a maximum heart rate, which is like 220 minus age, and on to be very easy to calculate. So 220 minus your age should be your maximum heart rate. At that maximum heart rate, are we able to perform on a decent performance range when it hits around 80 to 90% of the heart rate? So this is what happens when we say cardiac rehabilitation. So we try and push your heart rate very systematically and gradually to different levels of the OHR, which is the optimum heart rate, and see how you perform. Are you going breathless? Can the blood supply be regulated at these different heart rates? Can the lungs and the heart perform well? Can you recover faster? So these are some of the things which we see when we're doing a cardiac rehabilitation. And it's a very, very important part to be done, especially after your angioplasty. And it's very important to actually get that done.
I have two questions, please, ma'am. Can I ask? Can I ask two questions?
Yes, Minaji. Yes, Minaji.
Yeah. But first question is, where is this rehabilitation movement program in Pune? Is it here? I'm from Pune.
Okay.
Yeah, is it here? And second question is which shoes we should use for walking, you know. I'm using Skechers, but I feel that there's something wrong because I've changed over to new Skechers, and that's giving me some pain in my ankles.
Yeah. So basically, we are not based out of Pune, we are based out of Bangalore, but that doesn't, as I said previously, that doesn't stop us from, taking clients from outside, because we always have the online platform, which is a boon to us, because we have been treating clients from across the world. And definitely geographical restrictions are not a problem for us ever. So that is one thing. Second thing is when it comes to your shoe, yeah, I really don't know what Skechers. I've just used it once myself personally, but what I've seen is Skechers is more of a very heavy shoe and can actually create, there's no cushioning inside. That's what I know about Skechers.
Okay.
So when you're choosing your shoe, please make sure that it is quite flexible, because since you're walking, and there should be a good flexion of your feet, which should happen. And if that's not happening, it can create discomfort in the arch of the feet.
Okay. Yeah. Thank
So
you so much, sir. Thank you very much.
make sure that you try
Thank
your
you, ma'am.
shoe instead of just ordering it online.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Rashmi ji, would you like to ask question? And quickly we'll wind up. Rashmi ji?
Yes, can you give your phone number and address?
Sure, ma'am, if I'm allowed to.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. I'll put it on the chat box.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, yeah. Who's please, sir.
There is a pain in my hips throughout throughout the left leg.
Okay.
There are a lot of, in fact, I had an accident. So for 7 months I was on the bed. So the body has become jam. So from hips to legs, it is paining badly. Is there any relief?
Okay. So basically, as I said, without analyzing, I can't be giving any movements. But one thing which I can tell you is there is something called nerve flossing which you can do, because basically by understanding what you're saying, I think it could be one of the nerves which is kind of triggering that pain from your hip all the way to your feet. So what you could do is you can sit on a slightly higher chair. Make sure your leg is not touching the floor.
Okay.
Extend your leg up, whichever leg has the pain, extend it up, tuck your feet upwards.
Okay.
Move your head up and down.
Okay.
Up and down. This is called nerve flossing.
Okay.
And this helps to recover that pain, which is coming as a navigating pain or a radiating pain, can actually come down by doing this.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, one question, sir. Sharda Mani. One question, sir.
Can I ask you one
the
question?
exercises.
Can we just look at this not as a personal questions too much, because it's not easy for him to give solutions. So I can see he's trying his best, but this is not the right way to find a solution. So let's get in touch with him. There are some of the questions in the chat box. I'll ask you some of the questions.
Yes.
What nutritious food should seniors take? Senior citizens take is one of the questions.
Okay. So basically, when you ask me, I am a very strong believer that in India, we should be eating the Indian food. And any part of the country you go, we have our own set of food which we have been consuming quite regularly, and that can always help us heal and become fit faster. So, but what I would actually say is include a lot of vegetables. It can be any vegetable, but please make sure there's a lot of vegetables which are added, and make sure that it is nutrient dense rather than making it calorie dense. Make it more nutrition dense so that it is more fuller, the satiety is higher, and you can also be a long-term solution for yourself. So make sure that your food has a lot of vegetables, a lot of different varieties put together. And do not forget that if you do not have any kidney related issues, please ensure that there is a good amount of protein. Recommended daily allowance is 1 gram per kg of the body. So that is the international standard. So make sure that you're at least consuming that much of protein on a day-to-day basis. And that holds good for any age group.
Thank you, sir. Next is, can thyroid and prostate issues are also treated under this new movement analysis and dietary prescriptions?
All right. So
Vishwanath Rao sir is asking. Can thyroid and prostate issues are also treated under this new movement analysis and dietary prescriptions?
Okay. So when it comes to movement, it is not directly related to thyroid, but thyroid is indirectly related to exercise and directly related to diet. So thyroid can actually be restricted, or it can also be cured in certain levels, or put under check by following a proper exercise regime and a proper food habit. So that is the most important thing. The thyroid is basically a hormone which says when your body is full of food, when it can start the digestion process. If the thyroid is not working, then your body doesn't understand when the digestion should start and when the digestion should end. So that is one of the reasons. If you have a hypothyroidism, you normally start ending up gaining weight. So this is one thing which can actually be triggered by a proper diet regime and a proper food regime. And I have seen a lot of clients, my own clients, who are in the age group of 27 and 45, who have actually kept their thyroid levels at check by just following these two. When it comes to prostate, it is purely medical, completely comes under medical. So exercise is an indirect cause, but I would not suggest that, just that, because it has to come through a physician for that, for the prostate.
Okay. Thank you so much. One more question is, to avoid knee replacement, what are the exercises? So either you can suggest a YouTube link or something.
Yeah, so I will share a YouTube link for this. There are a lot of movements which you can follow on a day-to-day basis, and that can keep most of the aches and pains, not just the replacement, just even the aches and pains can just stay away from you, and you can actually keep the sign of it. So end of the day, it's not about exercises, it's about how fluidic the knee or any joint is. Making sure that the fluid retains in between the joints is most important, and that can happen with any movements. But to specifically induce movements, I will share the YouTube link, and please feel free to follow it, and also do a like if you like those videos.
Thank you so much. So one more person, Parvati ji is asking, nothing can be done after surgery. So if you
still get
pain in knee. I mean, I think the pain is still there in the knee or something, then what can be done?
Yeah.
Something
So as
like
I said, after surgery, you still have to go through a rehabilitation. So that doesn't take care of your problem. It just ensures that there's something which your body does not have right now has been induced. So which means that the muscles have to regrow. Ultimately, the muscles, the nerves, and the cartilage and everything. Cartilage might not be there, but the muscles, the nerves, and the ligaments has to come back to its original shape to make sure that the knee is moving well. For that, the rehabilitation is very important. If the rehabilitation has not happened, you will definitely go through a painful phase. As I said, just exercise is different. Rehabilitation is different. Rehabilitation takes care of the problem specifically, whereas exercise is general. So if you can understand that and get an analysis done and make sure that you start undergoing a rehabilitation, which can take around 6 to 9 months, it's a very good thing to have. So always keep your eyes open for rehabilitation.
Thank you so much, Kiranji. Now, there's one more question, that we are all senior citizens, healthy senior citizens. So what is a good exercise? We need to go through it. I guess you will be sharing the YouTube link for that.
Yes.
So next question is, selection of proper shoes for walking plays important role. So please advise. That is by
as I said, if you are a person who have been pretty active from before, you did not have any feet related issues, please go for a shoe which has a good flexion. So basically, if you just turn the shoe, it has to flex and extend. And there has to be a decent arch support when it comes to a good shoe. A person like me who has a flat feet issue, I have a flat feet issue. For us, we need to have a specific kind of a shoe where the arch is created by the shoe itself. You can actually go to one of the limb supporting places where there is something called Movement India here in Bangalore and a couple of places in India. They actually induce an arch. So that is something which you can use in your shoe, which is custom made based on your specific arch. You can't just buy an arch somewhere from the hospital medical stores and put it, because that will not give you the right support. If you have a flat feet issue, make sure that you're getting an arch created, put it in the shoe. Again, flexion extension of the shoe is very important. It has to be flexible.
Okay, thank you. Tripta Tiwari asks, is the butterfly movement good for knees and hips? For how many minutes it should be done?
It is very good. butterfly. And butterfly movement is one of the most to open your hip flexors, because most of the people in the world, because human body is created like that, the hip flexors are the tightest muscle in the body. For that to open up, butterfly pose or even the lotus pose is very, very important. If you can sit in these two postures, you actually keep the hips mobile. Minimum for the hips or the any muscle to open up is minimum of 15 to 20 seconds. That's for the beginners. Now from there, you need to keep advancing, and you can hold the pose up to 1.5 to 2 minutes as well. So if you're a very good flexible person, please go beyond 1 minute. If you're just starting, make sure that you hold a stretch at least for 15 seconds.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, Kala Sangili is asking, what are the causes for foot corn? What treatment should be taken for the foot corn?
Foot corn. Foot corn is something which I also had a very tough time in the past. So it depends. Is it a corn or is it a wart? So corn is basically the thickening of the skin. So it may or may not be painful. Whereas when it comes to a wart, it is very painful because it's an infection. Now, what I went through, this is something not related to my field at all, because since I went through, I'm actually telling it to you, is you need to, get something called cryotherapy, which is done in a lot of clinics, and so slightly high-end clinics. They do a liquid nitrogen spray on that, and it actually removes the corn or the wart. And that can take around 2 to 3 sittings for the complete microorganisms to come out. And then they're going to do a cleaning process on that and cover them. It is a good 4 weeks of process to actually completely get rid of the corn or the wart. So I think that has helped me. And yeah, I think one of my client also had done this. So from him, I got to know about this, and I also got it done.
Okay, we'll ask Sharda Maniji to unmute, and she has a question. Sharda Maniji, please, Auntie, unmute. Yes. No, you have to unmute, Sharda Maniji. I sent you a request.
Hello, Namaste, doctor. Your good advice. I like it so much, doctor. I have got a flat foot, doctor. Doctor advised me to take insole. You can use insole. Already, from the last 6 years, I am using insole. I purchased the shoe from the Bota, and it will be right in the inside also. Doctor advised me in the house also you have to use that shoe and the insole with always often and often the pain in the ankles, doctor. Swelling is also coming. So doctor told me to use that shoe inside also, in the house also, with insole. With insole, which insole is best, doctor?
Have you got the insole done specifically for you?
From the last 6 years, I am using one of the Swami. I don't know. He's from foreign Germany. It is imported from Germany. That insole I am using with the Bota shoe, lightweight shoes for walking purpose. But nowadays the flat foot is too much. Doctor told me it is increased.
Okay. So one thing is you cannot just use an insole which is, imported or non-imported, doesn't matter. But that arch has to be as per how much of flat feet you have. And it can't be one size fits for all. Will not happen with the arch, with the specific external arch. So that is one thing. And second thing is, again, in the YouTube link, there are a couple of movements which can recreate the arch, which you can follow on a regular basis. It's just the movement of the feet in different angles, which can actually strengthen. You can't recreate an arch, but you can actually strengthen those muscles to hold the existing arch in its place. So that is something which you can follow. But I would actually suggest you to go to a proper place. I think, I don't know where you are from. Are you from Bangalore?
I am from Bangalore, Vijayanagar.
Vijayanagar. Okay, I will send you.
No, in Kanakpura Road. I am in Kanakpura Road.
Okay, I will send you the link. You can go and actually get an arch done for yourself.
Oh, okay.
Because an arch should not increase the pain, because you're using an arch so that you can reduce the pain.
And a knee operation done, doctor, for me. That knee replacement done, one leg.
Okay, is it
right
okay?
leg. In right leg, the same problem in the right leg, flat foot problem.
Okay, okay. Is it happened recently or is it from the past?
3 years back.
Okay, so
There
it's
is no problem at all, doctor. I am fine.
Okay, okay. So please get this done. And if it has happened 3 years back, you can reconstruct your arch. It is not a problem. So please follow the exercises which is there on the YouTube link and see if you can follow that on a regular basis. You will get back the strength of the arch within 2.5 to 3 years.
Doctor, please give me the address where I have to buy, doctor.
I will send you the
We will share. So Shardamani ji, we will share it in the group.
Okay.
So thank you so much for your time. Because I thought we'll end up with this, but there's one more hand raised. So it is Rashmi ji. You can unmute and speak. Last question from Rashmi. Mitra.
Can you share your phone number, please?
I have shared my phone number here. Yes. Okay, I'll just share it again.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So if it is a phone number, it will be shared. Thank you so much. Yes. We will be sharing the phone number and the WhatsApp link and YouTube links, everything in the group. So thank you, Kiran ji, for the wonderful session. You had a lot of patients answering one-to-one also. Oh my God, that's like a lot of patients. Yeah, I could see that you were explaining in detail. And as you said, our dignitarians are not like, they are not like these youth. They are like much more energetic than the present youth.
Of course.
Seriously, they're so keen to know, understand everything and be a part of it. I'm amazed working with them. So thankful to Savya ji for, introducing you to us. So I'm really glad that Savya ji introduced you to us. So thank you so much for your valuable time. I thank Sheelu ma'am, that is Dignity Foundation founder, Sheelu Srinivasan from Mumbai, head office, Sujay ji, and the entire team who is supporting for this kind of online sessions, Rajesh ji and Javed ji, many people. And then we have a Bangalore head, that is Brinda ji, and a lot of coordinators, because we have 35 centers. So today 100 plus is because of that, and people are going out. Otherwise, it would touch the 300 also. So that's the thing. So thank you so much for all the members and Kiranji for your valuable time. Grateful to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.